The way that Paradise is playing, they're like, all right, boys, let's just set up over there.
I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do against Sim Turret there. Oh, I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. What a beautiful barrage.
I'm going to desk. Here we go. Well, everybody, welcome back to Hyperion Cup Checkpoint. I'm Oakley, and I am joined in the booth today with Xenon and Lord Ethan. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. Ethan, you there?
I wanted Xenon to say his piece
Oh.
if he had anything more to
Oh,
say.
no, don't worry about it.
I'm doing really well. I'm really excited to be back in the booth with Hyperion. Really eager to see what is unfolding for this season.
Absolutely. We do have a new season of Hyperion Cup. We did allow open registration for any team that's in our SR range of 2.7 to 3.1. So we do have a little bit of a breakdown of how this season's going to turn out, and then we've got previews for the teams, and then we'll be wrapping things up with the previews for the matchups this week. So let's get started with the roadmap for the season. So we did announce that we were coming back on December 8th, and we did put out that yes, this tournament's open for everyone. We didn't slide into anyone's DMs this time, asking, begging, pleading to join our tournament, posting on Reddit at the last minute, getting last minute teams. So anyone was able to join, and we set our goal of minimum 8 or 7 teams and a max of 12 to 16, and we landed right in the middle with 10, which was perfect for our season. So our season is 7 weeks long, and we're breaking it up into 2 splits. So the first one is 3 weeks, and then we have a bye week, and then there's a 4-week second sprint, followed by an 8-team single elim bracket for playoffs, and then at the end, like last time in the Hyperion Invitational Cup, we'll be wrapping things up with Legends Week, and we will have a Legends game, not versus Hyperion this time, hopefully. So that will be something to look forward to towards the end. Some other changes that we did make were that the roster size is increased from 9 to 12, and every series is not a predicted map pool. So the only first map is everyone will know. So this week's is Lijiang, and then it will just follow the Escort, Hybrid, 2CP, Unplayed Control, Unplayed Escort, Unplayed Control. That's not map 1 or 5 in your series every week. And there is a different map pool for each split and the playoffs. So there will be a lot of new action going into the season, but we're not here to talk only about that. We do have our teams. So Xenon, take it away. We'll talk about Tempest Typhoon first.
Now, this team is returning from the Invitational Cup. The core of the team has stayed mostly the same since that tournament, but it does look like we have the addition of Panda and Zai. A lot of good things came out of this team last season. They did a pretty good run, especially into playoffs, and we saw plenty of these members pop off and make their impact on the league. Kreia, obviously, on the Doomfist, being able to pull magnificent plays out of seemingly thin air, dead team fights coming back, and yikes, even Lemon Pepper, Batman, I should say, making wonderful plays to make sure that this roster can really push through. I'm excited to see how they've improved over time, and it should be great seeing how far they make it here.
After Tempest Typhoon, we're taking a look at Danger Close, which is another one of the returning teams. Very excited personally to see this squad. You can see they're benefiting from the increase in roster size from 9 to 12. You've got a whole team and a half, and then some more. A couple of new faces, a couple of old as well. It's pretty cool to see these notes. Probably the oldest team by average age, right? But still, able to compete with all the youngins who are still gaming. Really excited to see the flex support roster, or the flexibility in the support roster, rather. Peridot we saw last season, Paradroid as well, and Akuji. Big expectations, especially considering how impactful the role has become with I would say recent changes, but those changes haven't really affected too much. They They've been a team since 2018, though. So whether they're making changes to their roster, you have the core that's consistent, and really, what a great term to describe Danger Close as well in the Hyperion Invitational Cup. They were just one of the teams that just started good and stayed good. So I'm really excited for the team to start great and stay great heading into this first season.
Absolutely. They did end up playing us in UGC League Season 16, and they were pretty good opponents, so they'll be a team to look out for in this next tournament that we have coming up. Next team we have is one of the two Frost teams. I told Rook that we would not turn this into the Permafrost Invitational Club, so I limited him to only having 2 teams. But there's a lot of returning faces on this team, Frost Nova, from the Frost Nova that was in Hyperion Invitational Cup. We've got Florida, Zeno, Early Vincent, and Blazing Angel all coming back. They have a new coach in Retro. Rook's still around, and they should be adding a flex support here in the coming weeks, but there's a lot of potential on this team. Hopping
Absolutely.
into our next team, we have the second Frost team, Frost Surge Xenon. Take it away.
Yep, and on this iteration of the Frost Saga, we have Winter, Scarrow, Ricey, and Cavadozer, who all are returning, part of that original Frost Nova roster in the Invitational Cup. They picked up Nodlin and Zeramantha for their tank and support to round out their roster pretty well, but they also have Jarvisimo and Merc as a coach. Rook obviously continuing to manage both of these teams. It's going to be interesting with the kind of splitting of the original Frost Nova to see how the synergies kind of work. I'm excited to see, especially the upcoming Frost Bowl is probably what we're gonna have to dub it.
It'll have to wait for
See-
playoffs.
see
It doesn't
which
happen
is
in
the-
regular season.
See which is the superior Frost team.
And we're seeing a lot of kind of returning identities, some returning looks, even if it is Frost Nova kind of splitting into 2 teams, which is a pretty exciting expansion for them. If you want to talk about exciting, then let's take a look at our next team, Phoenix. And correct me if I'm wrong here. This is actually a totally new group staging themselves here in the Hyperion Cup. You've got Staff and CSPPP and the Beast as well. Who's their coach, Oakley? Do you know?
They don't have a coach.
Oh, they don't. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So in this case, this is just entirely player driven here as well. Then, because you can see, both of the staff members are competing as well. CSPPP on tank and the Beast on support. So really cool to have not only a totally new group of faces to Hyperion, but also just an entirely player-driven team. It's too early to say that I expect great things from any one of these teams. Although there's one or two that definitely I'm going to be looking at. Phoenix is honestly on that list of for me that I want to see their debut as soon as I possibly can. Very, very excited to see a player-driven squad here.
Absolutely. We did end up playing them twice in Owlet Season 4, and they were a pretty good team in that tournament. And I expected them to do pretty well in our tournament as well. Going into our next team, we have the returning champions from Hyperion Invitational Cup, Paradise Aegis. We do have a bunch of returning players that ended up popping off in their playoff run last season. Purple on the Roadhog, Menace to be dealt with, Brick Wall, Loki coming back on DPS with average size, Hidden Ninja, Capanema running out the squad. But we do have new tanks in Booze and Mini Bear coming in this time. Like I did say, they did end up winning Hyperion Invitational Cup, caffeinating and sussing, still managing, and this team has been around for over a year now, so a lot of good things from this squad.
It's a lot of Overwatch.
That is a lot of Overwatch.
Catch me playing Overwatch for more than a year.
Now, moving on, we're gonna cover another new team, I believe, in Grav 9. this team played Hyperion Academy back in GGNA Season 8. Consists of Dubinsky on support, Dane, Dragonslayer, Squanchy, Valenzo, Kotori, and Astra all flexing. So all of these players seemingly able to pick up any role they would like and run with it, really. I believe Orthus is the coach for this squad, and we don't really know much past that, but we are very much looking forward to see how they will perform in this upcoming season.
Yeah, this is a team that I've seen around in the GGNA tournaments for as long as I've been competing in that tournament, so it'll be interesting to see how they stack up in the Hyperion Open Cup. Ethan,
It's always really cool to kind of vaguely recognize people. Either you've played with or against them on ladder, or you've seen them in other tournaments. You played against them. You manage or you coach, so you know other managers and other coaches. And so some faces that I'm really excited to meet are going to be the members of the Peanut Butter Panthers, which is the next team to introduce here. These guys actually look relatively new to me. Really, the main face that I know here is actually going to be Dead Star, who is their coach or their manager.
their manager.
Okay,
Coach.
interesting. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I know Dead Star as a coach here for another couple of teams that I've seen before. It's kind of unlucky. They've lost their flex support and their off tank about a week before this tournament. So that's really where you get into kind of the not a really frustrating situation, but a difficult one to navigate nonetheless. Of kind of how do you allocate those responsibilities to the remaining members of your roster, right? Who's willing to take up those roles, and even more so than that, who's willing to improve on those roles or demonstrate the capacity to specialize in that flex support and off tank role, right? What it means is that we may see some really cool strategies as well, where you're running, kind of the Hog Zarya double off tank, or I'm sorry, double main tank, I guess, Winston Reinhardt, Winston Orisa strategies. But really, again, what I'm really excited to see from this particular team is just how well they can stay, how well they can compete, how well they can adapt to some of the other competition in the Hyperion Cup, because there's some really good teams here competing. So very excited to see what the Peanut Butter Panthers have.
Absolutely. And moving on to another new team that we have Voltage coming in. Unfortunately, we don't know anything about them at the moment outside of they were one of the last teams to register on deadline day. We don't really know too much about them. We do have Aelin Omi on the flex roll, Suck It on the tank roll, Cheese Mode Cactus on DPS. And outside of that, we don't really know too much about them. I do know that they're a little bit on the lower side in terms of like their overall average SR as a group. So maybe we'll have a good underdog story here for this week. They do go up against Danger Close, who was the second place team in the regular season for the Hyperion Invitational Cup. So it'll be a really, really good test to see if they can hang with the big leagues in this tournament.
Wonderfully. And last but certainly not least, we have a returning runner-up in the Hyperion Invitational Cup, Kaiju Core Clover. This team was amazing to watch at all points of the season, had a perfect regular season run, had a near perfect playoff run, only interrupted by Paradise Aegis, who were able to best them after a very hard-fought series in the finals. Most of these are familiar faces, in the form of Glitch, Felix, Cannon, JB Rocks, Copal, and Radiant Light. They did pick up Dogfish over the interim, it seems. Felix, JB Rocks, and Jexus all round out the staff. I believe Jexus is the coach. From that, they are a very old team, and by that I don't mean by age. I mean they founded in April 2020, so this roster has a long time to kind of build up synergy, and it's honestly a joy to watch them play. They always have great team fighting abilities, and it's always special. Always.
I got the pleasure to watch Kaju, well, not the team, but a couple of the members of Kaju Core Clover play in a charity tournament. It had to have been maybe about a month ago or so, and it was really really nice seeing some of these players again outside of the Hyperion Invitational. And I go back to kind of, it's a neat position to be in, to just recognize people, all these people who, believe it or not, still play Overwatch. And so I haven't had quite as long of a break from Kaiju Core Clover and their members as you two have. But I think that out of the three of us, I would put an argument forth that I am still the most excited to see them in action. We'll have our opportunity if we look at the schedule here. This is going to be the week 1 schedule. You guys can see for yourselves. Tempest Typhoon versus Kaiju Core Clover. That's going to be a really fun matchup. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, our first match is actually going to be Frost Surge versus Peanut Butter Panthers.
Yep, that's going on tomorrow at 8 p.m. along with Danger Close versus Voltage, and hopefully we'll have one of those casted for everyone to watch tomorrow.
Crossing our fingers for that one. I know that for Sunday, the Tempest Typhoon versus Kaiju Core Clover, you guys definitely want to be there for that one in particular. I mean, you guys want to be there for all of these, right? But especially since it'll be me and the Portal Man casting the Tempest Typhoon versus Kaiju Core Clover series. That's going to be really fun. But again, all of these matches are going to be really interesting. You look at Danger Close versus Voltage, right? And you want to know, how does this consistent team, how do they fare against Voltage, which is getting a lot of hype in the chat right now. You've got Grav9 versus Phoenix, two brand new faces to the Hyperion Invitation, or I'm sorry, to the Hyperion Cup, and you're like, okay, whose money whose money is do I have on which team, right? You do have returning teams, Paradise Aegis versus Frost Nova, players who are familiar with each other's playstyles, who have played against each other and locked in a war of attrition, hopefully with victory in their eyes as we head forth into this first week. Already, I'd say the Hyperion Cup is off to a fantastic start with this schedule.
Absolutely. I cannot wait for this entire season to start. There are plenty of returning faces and plenty more new faces that are going to shake up the standings so much, and really I can't wait to see how these games turn out over the course of 2-3 weeks, where we finally kind of see where the power rankings stack up and ultimately who's going to win it all.
Absolutely. And that's going to be it for our pre-show here on Checkpoint tonight. I've been Oakley, joined in the booth as always with Xenon, and today's special guest is Lord the Ethan. And we will see you all next time.